A promise, I can't tell top stories. As youth in Cameroon prepare to celebrate their day come February 11, there is a growing concern about juvenile delinquency. Experts say parents should create an atmosphere of friendship to help these youngsters open up.
As a parent, nobody knows your child more than you. First of all, parents should learn to be very friendly with their children. Talk about those issues that are very intimate with our children. Whether they are still little or they are adolescents, we should try to talk those things that concern them.
Get details in this newscast. In this news out of the country, tensions continue to rise in the Central African Republic as opposition political parties pull out from the parliamentary elections. And in sports, it will be a clash of lions tonight at the Limbe Centenary Stadium, with the Intermediate Lions of Cameroon clashing with the Intermediate Atlas Lions of Morocco in one of the semi-final matches of the ongoing CHAN. Get first-hand updates from Limbe, the expectations of Cameroonians, and the stakes and challenges of the game in our mini dossier. Stay with us. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. My name is Promise Akante. You are welcome. Youth in Yaoundé will join their peers nationwide on February the 11th to celebrate the 55th edition of the National Youth Day. Activities ahead of this day continue in schools and other youth groups across the nation. And as these activities continue, where youth prepare to celebrate the Youth Day on February 11, 2021, many have accused and condemned youth of juvenile delinquency both in the school milieu and at home. As a result, our reporter Frinwe Crispin interviewed some youth and compiled their views in the following report.
Of course, these accusations are very correct because that's what qualifies youth nowadays. They are too lazy, they don't like to work, they just practice very bad things and so on.
Vivian is a year 2 student in communication. Judging from her explanation, her fellow youths nowadays have greatly derailed from the right track. She goes ahead to say these youths must occupy themselves in order to avoid any breach of the law.
They have first of all to understand that this life is not easy. Everyone now can't just stay like that hoping that something is going to come somewhere. They have to put themselves in activities. They have to be hard working, trying to get their way of living. They have to be constantly working to avoid all those qualities that people usually give them.
Meanwhile, Glory, a computer student, on her part explains that not only youths get involved in barbaric practices.
The accusations are correct, but not meaning that all the youths are engaged in these bad practices, or there is nothing that can justify these bad practices.
However, she further outlines that not only the youth but the family has a big part to play in order to improve the mean attitudes rising amongst youths.
The family has a part to play in this change, the community equally, and more of individual persons. So as an individual, I think the best way to improve in this is get rid of all these bad practices and try to cooperate or speak with our friends around.
As it is always said, the future lies in the hands of the young generation. Therefore, being responsible is what is needed for a brighter future.
Thank you very much, Frinwe Crispin. We take you to the school milieu to see that basic education experts have converged on Yaoundé to seek ways of implementing e-learning in primary and secondary or nursery schools across the country during a consultation meeting related to the midterm assessment of the 2020-2021 school year and under the chair of Secretary of State in the Ministry of Basic Education, Dr. Ashiri Kilo. In the following soundbite, some of the key issues to be raised are highlighted. Take a listen.
There are new laws on this budget, and so we'll expect the Director of Budget to explain to the senior staff what this entails. We also will be looking at inclusive education and distance education, for that matter, which is the in thing now. With what is going on around the world, we need to have our children learn to study from a distance.
And still in education, the controversy around textbooks on academic programs in the Cameroonian educational system due to some errors observed in some school textbooks, which creates tension among parents, has been observed. Jessica Tangana works with a pedagogue to understand the basis on which school textbooks are established for the academic year. Take a listen to our report.
Textbooks have been part of the stock in trade of the educator for centuries, and still nowadays, a range of learning resources are used to support students in their learning process, among which textbooks are the most notable. Now the question is, what is actually taken into consideration before implementing a textbook for an academic year in a school program? John Neighbor, a pedagogue, answers.
A good textbook must fall in line with the curricula that are in use at the present moment in that particular educational system in a country. A good textbook has good quality. That means it should be able to last for at least 2 or 3 academic years, and then even beyond. Good textbook must not carry anti-republican ideas, and it must be free from errors of all sorts, be them grammatical or wrong facts. A good textbook should also be accessible and available, meaning that consumers should be able to find it in libraries, and it should also be affordable. Those are some of the considerations that the book commission looks into before putting a book in the syllabus.
Textbooks seem to play important role in almost all school systems in the world in the learning process of children. Why? Still our pedagogue, John Neighbor.
Textbooks play a very important role in the life of both teachers and learners. Textbooks is just like a hoe or a cutlass to a farmer. Textbooks facilitate the work of teachers. Textbooks help learners to carry out research, and textbooks open the minds of learners to new and foreign ideas. Textbooks contain exercises that occupy the learner, thereby reinforcing and consolidating the lessons that are taught in class. Textbooks save time, because a class where there are no textbook, the teacher is forced to write everything on the board, and so it wastes a lot of time.
However, everyone should understand that though the use of textbooks and other teaching and learning resources have advantages and disadvantages, these textbooks are useful resources for both teachers as course designers and students acquiring knowledge.
Thank you very much, Jessica Atangana. And we still stay with the youth and the preparation ahead of 11 February activities to say that there is a growing number of cases of drug consumption among youth in the school milieu. The most recent one is the case of from 3 children who were diagnosed of high drug consumption yesterday at Lycée de Don Bosco in Yaoundé after passing out during classes. These 3 cases of young children are just among the many others who have not been unveiled yet. If care is not taken, these acts will become danger threats in future. How then are parents supposed to follow up with their children, given that the first form of education one receives is from home? How can they avoid them from derailing? This is what Mrs. Ngwenyi Victorine, a sociologist, answers through our reporter Susan Nyanyonge. Take a listen.
There are lots of ways that parents can use to better understand their children's actions, especially to know if they are on the right track or they are going wrong. As a parent, nobody knows your child more than you. First of all, parents should learn to be very friendly with their children. That child should participate. It is true you are the one deciding, but make that child to feel that he or she has a say in what is happening to her. Talk about those issues that are very intimate with our children. You have to share in their difficulties, their problems, and try to come out with solutions together. Drug abuse and auto-medication must be discussed with these children, because some of them just go into it without knowing the consequences. They think might be taking Tramol, it will make you feel excited, or because I saw a friend taking Tramol, I'll also take it. They don't know that it is completely a derailment in life. Let the child to know that even if you are sick, make sure you don't take even paracetamol without consulting your school administration, consulting the health section in your school administration, or saying it to your mother or your father, so that they know what to give you and what dosage to give you at what time.
And still with the youth, the phenomenon of artistic productions being more profane is becoming very recurrent. Taking music, for example, some words which are out of deprave the mind, as well as stories with no good moral, are rather filling social media platforms. The younger generation being more malleable is apt to practicing what they hear and see. To know more about the impact of harsh words in music, take a listen to the following report by Susan Nanyonge.
Music, they say, suits the soul, but if words are not inspiring, then chances of hurting the soul are rather high. Nowadays, several people are sprouting up from their hideouts with their musical productions which do not always enchant everybody. Charles, a Yaoundé city dweller, says what he thinks about songs with harsh language.
Music plays an important role in the socialization of children, and popular music is present everywhere. But nowadays, lyrics of the popular music of today is more explicit on their references to drugs, sex, and violence. So if a teenager is to listen to this kind of music, obviously the behavior changes, emotions changes, it even affects his or her studies.
Also, though majority of the population claims to like some songs from Cameroonian artists like Malox, others rather say it is due to influence from their peers that they follow some songs. Chi Paul, another person, gives his impression on the issue.
There are some words that they use in the songs that generally people consider them as perverted. But now, you find children singing the songs in front of their parents, all of that, without even knowing the necessary impact on it. And most of the times, some of the wordings that they get from the song might, in a way, motivate some of the youth to start doing some type of things that they were not able to do.
In a nutshell, people, youths especially, should be careful with the kind of relationship they entertain as well as their songs they listen to.
Thank you very much, Susan Nanyonge. And still to come in this newscast, the rampant deadly road accidents recorded in Cameroon of recent has attracted international concerns, with the WHO reacting. How do city dwellers feel about these accidents?
Very bad, because where we are going is not normal. How can we have an accident whereby some people die? It's not normal. We don't have good roads. You don't have to blame the drivers. The first supposed to blame is the government. Supposed to arrange those roads.
You are listening to the 2 p.m. News on 88.4 Real FM and watching us live on Facebook on Real FM Cameroon. The Vatican Secretary of State has prescribed prayers, hope and faith in God and positive human actions as the means to restore peace in times of trouble and find comfort where misery has set in. His Eminence Pietro Cardinal Parolin gave the advice while officiating a high mass at Our Lady of Victory Cathedral in Yaoundé yesterday. Before leaving the country at 8 a.m. today, the Cardinal expressed satisfaction with the reception accorded him and the different exchanges that he had. Prime Minister Dion Gute was present at the Yaoundé International Airport to see off the august guests. The population of the southwest region has been reminded of the importance of wetlands and the need to pressure or to preserve them. This was during a sensitization campaign by the Southwest Regional Delegation of Environment, Nature Protection and Sustainable Development to mark World Wetlands Day. The high rate of road accidents in Cameroon has raised concerns worldwide as the World Health Organization 2020 report top ranks Cameroon to record the highest number of road accidents within the Central African countries. An information many Cameroonians comply with following the recurrent cases of road accidents in Cameroon. Our reporter Germenta cornered some Yaoundé city dwellers and some public transporters to find out what they think about accidents in Cameroon as well as the causes of the accidents. Take a listen to our report.
The upsurge of road accidents across the nation is becoming a recurrent problem in Cameroon, resulting to death. These are some Cameroonians express their anger on what they think of accident as it causes in Cameroon.
I feel so bad for the number of Cameroonians that has died.
I'm once again saddened and shocked by this accident.
I feel very bad because where we are going is not normal. How can we have an accident whereby some people die? It's not normal. We don't have good roads. You don't have to blame the drivers. The first supposed to blame is the government. Supposed to arrange those roads. When you're going to Bafusam, at times you see people repairing the roads. There are no speed breaks. At times there are signs and at times there are no signs. So I can say they're not doing nothing. Because when you go, for example, in Equatorial Guinea here, there are auto roads there. But in Cameroon, there's not even one. We don't have roads in Cameroon. That's the worst thing. My advice I can give to me is that the government should try to make auto roads in Cameroon.
This public transporter on his part does not hesitate to outline some causes of road accidents in Cameroon.
I will first of all accuse the road because we don't have good roads in Cameroon. They educate, we are there to educate the difficulty we have on the main road, all those type of things. From Yaoundé to Bafoussam, that road we are using is not appropriate for road users, and the road is too small. Any error is just what they are saying yesterday. You see a road that somebody who is coming from Bafoussam, you make an error, you come and meet the other person who is coming from Yaoundé. If you have good road, we now see how we accuse the driver that he was tired, etc.
At the same time, these Yaoundé city dwellers share the blame to both the road users and the government.
At times when you're traveling, you discover that at times they park their trailers. At times they are wrongly parked. At times you meet the drivers that are running high speed. Everybody is blamed in between all this because even the roads are too bad. And
on the other hand, this public transporter brings forth some suggestions.
We in our Professional Drivers Federation are mobilizing a community of young drivers to rethink trade unionists, involve young and people and develop their militancy so that they have the skills to face up the politics who refuse to take strong measures to preserve the life of Cameroonians, and also to convince employer and workers for the need to belong to a union so that together we can build an unshakable base in the transport sector.
Preventing road accident, therefore, is not one man's cup of tea. As a conscious man, we always save lives.
Thank you very much, Jementa. We talk diplomacy in this newscast to say that the Director of African Affairs in the Ministry of External Relations has an outing on the national radio station spoken of land issues between Cameroon and Liberia. According to the director, a piece of land obtained by Cameroon in the early 1980s for the construction of a consulate has been sold to another investor, and the procedure has been launched to retrieve Cameroon's land. Now, the land issue between Cameroon and the government of Liberia is raising dust, and while some Cameroonians are yet to understand a whole lot of the case, others fear diplomatic incidents. To get a clearer view, Mapala Zita had a phone chat with an internationalist and put together the following report.
The two pieces of land acquired way back in the early 1980s was aimed for the construction of a building to host the Cameroonian consulate in Liberia. That dream seemed to be fading away as the lands now belong to a Lebanese businessman in some process that no one seems to understand. Well, let us begin by getting from our internationalist Blaise Bebe Abong what the Vietnam law of international land ownership stipulates.
First of all, you have to understand that when foreign governments establish embassies or consulates in another country, they do so within the confines of the diplomatic conventions of Vienna. These are the laws of the Vienna laws of 1951 and 1954, which actually stipulate the conditions and the conditions for the functioning of a diplomatic mission within another country. And by the law of extraterritoriality, that piece of land which is acquired in the name of the Republic of Cameroon automatically assumes the conditions of non-violability, which are all accorded by the Vienna Conventions that I have cited.
Despite a court ruling in Liberia which affirms Cameroon's ownership of the land, the property is yet to be handed back to its rightful owner, and this alone makes some Cameroonians fear a strain in diplomatic ties between the two countries.
This is not a very big issue that it can constitute any diplomatic row between the two countries. I think that the president of Liberia, President George Weah, is going to take necessary measures to make sure that either Cameroon, the land of the Cameroon government is restituted, or that there is ample compensation to meet up for all such losses.
But just what could make Liberia resell an already sold piece of land to another buyer?
Maybe because of the length of time that our country took to actually occupy that land or to construct a property on it, this happens all over the place.
This should definitely be an eye-opener to people who buy pieces of land and leave them unexploited for too long.
Out of the country, a coalition of opposition parties in the Central African Republic has withdrawn from the parliamentary elections after describing the process as a sham. This comes a day after the Constitutional Court rejected attempts to annul the first round of voting over allegations of fraud. The situation in the Central African Republic is extremely precarious as rebels opposed to the re-election of President Faustin Archange Touadéra have been advancing to the capital, Bangui. The government accuses the former president François Bozizé of backing the rebels. He denies accusations. He was barred from standing for re-elections after being accused of murder, torture, and other crimes. The head of Liberia's anti-corruption body, Ndubuisi Nwabudike, has resigned. Mr. Nwabudike, of Nigerian origin, insists he is a Liberian, denying any wrongdoing despite concerns on how he acquired his citizenship. He failed last year to prove to a Senate committee his Liberian citizenship that had enabled him occupy top positions in the country. President George Weah has accepted the resignation and thanked him for the service. The resignation will take effect from February 26. In the UK, results that show the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine may reduce the spread of coronavirus have been hailed as absolutely superb by the Health Secretary. Matt Hancock said the study shows vaccines are the way out of this pandemic. It is the first time a vaccine has been shown to reduce the transmission of the virus. The UK has given a first COVID jab to 9.6 million people so far. The results of the study, which has not yet been officially published, suggest that the vaccine may have a substantial effect on transmission of the virus. It means the jab could have a greater impact on the pandemic, as each person who is vaccinated will indirectly protect other people too. And then Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is to step down as chief executive of the e-commerce giant that he started in his garage nearly 30 years ago. He will become executive chairman, a move he said will give him time and energy to focus on his other ventures. Mr. Bezos, who has a fortune of almost $200 billion, will be replaced by Andy Jassy, who currently leads Amazon's cloud computing business. The change will take place in the second half of 2021. 57-year-old Mr. Bezos has led Amazon since it started as an online bookshop in 1994. The firm now employs 1.3 million people globally and has its hand in everything from package delivery and streaming video to cloud services and advertising. We come back to Talk Sports. The 2021 African Nations Football Championship, CHAN Cameroon, our special page in the news. And of course, our special page, we talk CHAN. Cameroon's intermediate Lions will take on the Atlas Lions of Morocco in one of the semi-final matches of the ongoing African Nations Football Championship at the Limbe Centenary Stadium. Let's now try our best to hook up with our special envoy to Limbe. He is Abel Belasamari, to get the temperature out there. Good afternoon to you, Abel Belasamari.
Good afternoon, Promise Akante. Welcome to Limbe, the old Victoria, the town of friendship, the den of the intermediate Lion, as they take on Morocco today at 8 p.m. local time out here.
Well, Abel, we know of the prevailing security situation out there in Limbe. What can you tell us about that, Abel?
Promise Akante, talking about the security situation here in Limbe, to tell you it has not been easy getting into town today following the announcement from separate leaders that a lockdown should be witnessed today. This has caused most transport agencies flying the Yaoundé Southwest route to take a break of their activities. The only option left is to take Douala before negotiating with a private car, preferable a uniform officer, to take you to Limbe. Equally note that this will cost you a little bit more as the prices has been doubled. Along the road from Douala to Limbe, prepare your mind to be controlled rudely at the many checkpoints set up by the authorities of the region. Once in Limbe, Promise Akante, you need not to be told that the security have been beefed up armed to teeth uniform officers can be seen patrolling the streets on foot, car, and even helicopter. The governor of the Southwest region, Bernardo Calabilai, has instructed that no bike should be found circulating around the stadium. We know of recent Promise Akante, there was an explosion out here in Limbe, and the government is doing every bit of security to make sure that today's encounter carry on history. For me, life in Limbe is still timid following the Keep Limbe Clean observe early today as we wait the 8 p.m. match. Promise.
Abel, before I leave you, go and wait for the 8 p.m. match. With all of these, are supporters ready to go to the field? Are they on the street? I know with the flags, with the vuvuzelas, with the whistles. Are they out on the field, on the streets, Abel?
For the fear of the unknown, Promise Akante, most of the supporters out here in Limbe have decided to remain mute concerning the match of today. But even though local radios are animating the match with fine analysis and commentary on what will happen today, but you will hardly see people wearing jersey of the Cameroon color, that is the green, red, yellow, or carry flag, or do the painting that we usually find in cities like Douala and Yaoundé, or sit in little groups to comment about today's encounter. But however, the Intermediate Lions of Cameroon today had a warm-up session to prepare for the match under tight security, Promise Akante, and these guys are determined that the game of today will be in favor of Cameroon. For the Moroccan team, they are still being awaited here in Limbe, and reports hold that they will jet into town some few minutes before the start of the encounter together with their supporters following the security situation that we witness in the Southwest region. Reporting from the seaside town of Limbe, the town of friendship, my name is Abel Bela Samari.
Thank you very much, Abel. And just to announce to you that at 7 p.m. this evening, Royal FM will come up with a special program, and you'll be having a live commentaries of that match on our airwaves as from 8 p.m. when Cameroon takes on Morocco. Now, tonight at the Limbe Stadium, we'll have the second semi-final match. Jessica Tangana met some Yaoundé dwellers to inquire their expectations and pronostics for the upcoming match tonight. Let's take a listen to this Vox Pop.
We have a chance to make it to the final. Why not? Possible. It's true that Morocco is a strong side, but I think we can make it to the final. So I will go again for maybe 2-1, like our last result, in favor of Cameroon.
Actually, the match against Morocco will not be so easy that way, because Morocco is the one having the last cup in hand, and what the coach of Morocco says, he said that he has come to add the cup, not to give it back. So we Cameroonians, we have to support our team very heavily, and we have to put them effort so that we should win the cup.
I'm from excited, and I know that Cameroon is a blessed country. They are not the lion for nothing. I know that they'll win, and I think Cameroon winning 4 goals to 0, and it's going to be amazing.
Some city dwellers speaking there. Now, the Intermediate Lions of Cameroon are determined to reach the final of the 2020 African Nations Championship. The team's recent flow of brilliance is a true reflection of their quest to cover and emerge victorious. Now, in the following write-up, Mbeng Emmanuel says the clash against Morocco presents another avenue for the Lions to confirm the status as title contenders and make the nation proud.
Never has Cameroon been so close to reach the final of the African Nations Championship. Never has there been enormous pressure on Coach Martin Tongopile. Never has the pride and honor of an ever-loving football population been at stake. After picking up a historic qualification to the semi-finals, the team is now focused to overcome the last hurdle in the penultimate clash with defending champions Morocco. The Intermediate Lions of Cameroon have so far demonstrated brilliance and resilience, attitude which comes with securing a spot in the finals, a maiden continental silverware. But like Oliver Twist, Cameroonians have been asking for more character, more from a squad who produced one of the greatest display against two-time winners, the Democratic Republic of Congo. A masterclass display spiced with an impressive attacking flair and impeccable results. Many believe the Lions will have not survived the group stages, but there is no longer disbelief. Critics must have reassessed such thinking, having witnessed the Lions run in the tournament. Apart from producing a stunning display this evening against defending champions Morocco, the team will also need the population of the Southwest region, especially Limbe, to roar them to victory. In Yaoundé and Douala, the tradition was respected, and Coach Martin Tongopile believes their presence is essential to triumph.
I expect the public of Limbe to support their team. I would like the crowd to come very, very early and to bring the Cameroon team to the victory. I want to thank the public of Yaoundé and Douala. I think that in Douala it was marvelous because I've seen the town of Douala around the team and I was very, very happy.
Before the Cameroon-Morocco clash, the Eagles of Mali will face Guinea in the first semi-final at the Japoma Stadium at 4 p.m. The winners of both semi-finals encounters will contest for the trophy on the 7th of February at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé.
The 2021 African Nations Football Championship, CHAN Cameroon. That was our special page in the news. And while wishing good luck to the Lions, we welcome Benoît Bagoda, who is here with a summary of this newscast in French. Bon après-midi, Benoît.
Bon après-midi, Promis Akanti. Éducation polémique autour du livre Les Nouveaux Champions inscrit au programme des élèves des cours élémentaires première année au Cameroun. Le manuel présente des fautes de grammaire et des conjugaisons, d'où l'inquiétude des parents par rapport à la qualité de la formation de leur progéniture. Révision des listes électorales, l'heure est à l'évaluation et à la redynamisation. Un mois après le lancement des opérations pour l'année 2021, les équipes de l'ECAM et précisément les membres du conseil électoral multiplient les descentes sur le terrain. En Bimani, la vague d'indignation se poursuit après le coup d'État militaire. Un mouvement de désobéissance civile vient de voir le jour sur les réseaux sociaux alors que le Conseil de sécurité cherche à remédier à la situation. Championnat d'Afrique des Nations CHAN 2020 ce mercredi, jour de demi-finale, la première demi-finale, affiche Mali-Guinée à 16h au stade de Japoma de Douala. 4 heures plus tard, les Lions A-Prime et les Lions de l'Atlas du Maroc seront au coude à coude au stade Omnisport de Limbi.
And that is the package we have for you this afternoon. The news was produced by Susan Nanyonge. Salomon Isana was our sound engineer. Alain Kwekama, the cameras for the live broadcast on Facebook. Carol Prudence Tienche was our copyright clerk. Jean Patient for editorial coaching. Bertrand Wona for coordination. And Reverend Pastor Emmanuel Noel Bisai for general supervision. Up next is Plan Fa sur l'économie with Yannick Silver-Ngelewi. Good afternoon to you, Yannick.
Good afternoon, Promis Akante.
What should we expect on Plan Fa today?
Yes, we are going to talk today about the role of state in economy, and precisely we are going to find out if in a globalization area, a state can effectively régulate et market economy. Donc aujourd'hui, il sera question donc de revenir sur la problématique du rôle de l'État dans l'économie. Et vous observez fondamentalement que l'État en Afrique, notamment au Cameroun, perd le contrôle de la mécanique économique du marché qui gagne du terrain avec des multinationales qui transcendent les frontières étatiques. Et bien ce matin, on essaiera un tout petit peu de comprendre est-ce qu'il y a lieu de renforcer le rôle de l'État dans une économie de marché.
That is coming up next in Plan Fast with Economy. Meantime, our bilingual newscast comes up at 6 p.m. Co-presented by Eve, Modest Ngay and Finwe Crispin. My name is Promise Akante, wishing you a royal time on Royal FM.